Hello everyone, this is Makayo. I'm doing our walkthrough for Lab 11. Lab 11, we looked at slope, aspect, spatial analyst, contour, reclassify, raster calculator, polygon to raster, select by attribute, raster polygon, and clip. So very involved, but no worries, we'll get it done. So then let's begin. Get rid of you. Oh, wait. There we go. So then I've already went ahead and extracted and downloaded my file from Canvas. So then once I open up my project, I'm just going to go to catalog, right click on folders, add folder connection. And then I'm going to select my Chester _ 10 meter DEM and press OK. Then if I expand it out, I can see that I've got my 10 meter DEM right here. So let's look at the instructions. Number 1 asks us to insert a new base map titled the light gray canvas base map. So let's go to our map banner. Let's go to base map. And then let's add our light gray canvas. And then once we have that there, let's go back to our catalog. And let's right click and add the DEM _ 10 meter.tif onto our map. All right, that's number 2. 3 asks us to create 3 different raster maps showing slope, aspect, and hill shade, and additionally to create a contour map. So then to find all those tools, we can go to the analysis banner up top, click on tools, and then we can search for them there. So then let's start with slope. We're going to select spatial analyst tools, our input raster. All right, so we've got our DEM, our output raster, our degree, and our method. So then for the instructions, our output measurement is going to be our scaling, and our Z factor is going to be 1. Let's run it. All right, cool. And then let's run the aspect tool. The aspect. Let's do spatial analyst. Let's select our input raster as our DEM. Our output raster will be DEM 11, and our method will be planar. Yep, we accept all defaults for that one. All right, let's go back. And then after aspect, let's search for hill shade. Spatial analyst tools. Our input raster will be our DEM. Our azimuth will be 315. Our altitude will be 45. And our Z factor will be 1. Let's run it. All right, cool. And then let's run our contour tool. Yeah. And as always, our input raster will be our DEM 10 meter, please. Thank you. Our contour interval is going to be 20. Our base contour is going to be 0, and our Z factor will be 1. Our contour type will be contour, and we're not changing any maximum vertices per feature. Let's run it. And nice. Okay, so we've got our contour, we have our hill shade DEM, we have our aspect DEM, and our slope DEM. Why do I want to say DPM? DPS? Yes. So now we've got our 4 features. We're asked to reclassify these. So then let's start with hill shade. So then let's go to our tools. Let's search for reclassify, spatial analyst tools, and then we're going to do hill shade first. So looking at hill shade, we need our hill shade to be greater than 150. So then if we're doing greater than, we're going to use 2 values for our classes. So we're already in natural breaks for our method. And then we're going to change our classes to 2. Press OK. And if we want our hill shade to be greater than 150, we're going to change that first end to 150 that first new to 0, the second row start to 150, and we can leave the end for the second row by itself and change the new value to 1. So then, like the instructions are asking us to, we're setting up an analysis of these ranges of values, and any value that does not meet the range that we want is going to be 0, and the ranges that we want will be 1. So looks good to me. Let's run it. Cool. It's completed. So then let's check out our contents. We've got 0, 1, 0 being bad, 1 being good. Let's put you at the top. And then let's keep on going. So that was Hillshade. Let's do aspect. So for aspect, we need between 150 to 210. So that sounds like we have 3 classes. Let's switch our method to natural breaks and then our class to 3. And let's press OK. So then if we're looking for values between 150 and 210, our first end is going to be 150. The new value will be 0. The second row at the start will be 150, 150 to 210. And then we're going to make that our new value of 1 because that range of values is what we want. And then our third row of start will be 210. And we can leave the 359 alone because that's the top 4 of our values. And we're just going to make sure that we change that new value to 0 because this range of values, again, is not what we're looking for. Let's run it. And all right, we did it correctly. We have 0 bad, 1 good. So we've got our reclassed hill, our reclassed aspect. Excuse me. And now let's do slope. So our slope needs to be less than 10 degrees. So if we're doing less than, we're going to have 2 classes. So let's do natural breaks. For our method, 2 classes. Let's press OK. And our first row of n is going to be 10. And the new value will be 0 because, oh, just kidding. Our new value will be 1 because we want 0 to 10. Our slope needs to be less than 10. So then our second row of start will be 10. And we can leave our 68.27 alone and just change the value to 0 because we don't want slope values that are greater than 10 degrees. And we're only looking for slope values that are below 10 degrees. So then that's why we have our 1 and then 0. Let's run it. All right, cool. So then let's check it out. We've got our reclass slope, our reclass aspect, and our reclass hillshade. All right. So then we can't automatically reclassify our contour layer because it's not a raster. If we check out the attribute table for it, we have our contour values, we have ID, we have the shape, but it's still disconnected. So then we have to do another step before we can reclassify it. So the step that we got to do is convert this raster into a polyline to raster. So we have a tool for that. So if we go to our analysis buffer, analysis banner, click on tools, we can search for polyline to raster. And then we're going to select the polyline to raster for our conversion tools. And then our input features will be our contour DEM 10 meter. Our value field is not going to be object ID. It's going to be contour. And checking the rest of the inputs. Our value field needs to be contour. Our cell assignment is going to be maximum length. We don't have a priority field that we're weighting this by, and our cell size is 800, and we are building a raster attribute table. So once you've got that done, let's run it. Cool. And now we're going to reclassify the output of that. So then let's go back to reclassify our spatial analyst tools. Our input raster will be our contour DEM 10 meter polyline to raster. And we want a range of values between 320 and 460 with the values below and above that range being 0. So I think we're going to need 3 classes. We're already in natural breaks. And all right, So our first end is going to be 320. And it'll be 0 because that range is not what we're looking for. We're going to change the second row of our start to 320, our second row of our end to 460, and we're going to make sure that new value is 1. We're going to change the first start to 460, leave 1080 by itself, and our new value for that one will be 0 as well, because we only want values that are within 320 and 460. So then let's run it. All right, cool, 0, 1. All right, awesome. So that was 5A to D. And now we're on to 6. We're going to use the raster calculator to add these together, or to add these different suitability layers together. So then in our geoprocessing, let's search for our raster calculator, our image analyst, no, our spatial analyst tools. And then let's just double click each of these layers. So I'm going to double click my reclass contour. I'm going to plus it with my reclass slope, plus that with my reclass aspect, plus that with my reclass hill. So we have our four layers like we're given in the example. Example reclass slope, reclass aspect, reclass hill, and reclass elevation. So then now that we've got these, our output raster will be reclass raster. Makes sense. Let's run it. And all right. So that's kind of messy, but that's okay. So let's go to our contents and let's deselect everything else that we don't need. Yeah, we don't need any of that. So then if we're looking, our tan orangish colors are 4s, which means since we put the values that are positive or the values that we're looking for as 1, and we have 4 suitability layers, the areas that have a value of 4 is going to be the areas that are suitable for building a house. So it's really just adding them on top of each other. Could I mean, I don't really care about 0. Okay, that's a little bit better. And where's my symbology? There we go. We're just going to make this a different color that stands out a little bit better to me. Make it like a bright offset red. That way we can see it against these. We'll make our medium value. We'll make our medium value. Yeah, that works. So then we have our blank spaces where there is no suitability to build a house. We have our other spaces where there's some features that match up, but some that don't. And the areas that have red on them are the areas that had all 4 layers be suitable within that specific space. So, cool. And now we have to go to the XY tool. So then let's go to our map banner. And then we have our go to XY tool right here. So then this was put in backwards. So then our longitude will be negative 75.5815914. And our latitude will be 39.9673837. Cool. So then when we press enter, we're given a flashing green dot, and we're also given a scale for this. So then the scale for this map should be 1 to 30,000. And we're centered on Westchester. So again, I set the values of 0 to no color. That's why I have blank spaces in my map. And then our high value, or the value that shows where it is suitable to build a house, is 4. All right, cool. So then where I need to create a map showing suitable areas to live. So let's go to our insert banner up top. Let's go to new layout. Let's go to letter. And let's insert the map frame that we've been working on. All right. So then we're still centered on Westchester. So that's good. And now let's add our north arrow and scale bar. North arrow. Our scale bar. Multiples of 5, please. And then let's add our legend. And let's add a title. This is suitable areas to build, to construct a home. Suitable areas to build on that matching the builder's criteria, or is true. So then when we're doing programming and things like that, sometimes we refer to things as true if it's a positive or if it's a response value that we're looking for. So then for this one, our response values of 4 are true. So those are the areas that have the best suitability for our builder to build a house on. I'm gonna make sure that my title is a little bit bigger. So I have a long title. So let's do 20, 24. Oh, one lower, 22, 20. Perfect. So then before we go further, we need to change this. So reclass RASTI value is not suitable for submission. So let's double click on raster, reclass, and suitable suit. Areas, suitable areas for construction. Is true. All right, that looks good to me. It fits in the corner. We've got 4 is true in our legend as well as our title. So then our builder who's looking at our map should be able to figure out where we recommend they build. And all right, that is the end of 7A and 7B. We've created a map showing areas that are suitable to live in at a 1 to 30,000 scale. So then deliverables, 1 through 3, all of you should be able to answer on your own. And 4. So 4 asks for 4 different maps. So not screenshots, but 4 different maps that you export based on the slope, aspect, hillshade, and the final suitability locations of an inset map. So to make an inset map, let's go to our insert banner, new map, and then we can either go back to our catalog, right click and add our DEM back to our map to get our study area, or we can just use our map banner, go to XY, and then type in the longitude and latitude that we were given. So then negative 75.5815914. Okay, and then our latitude is going to be 39.9673837. So I'm just gonna press enter. That gives us our study area. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more. All right, cool. This is our study area. We can see Westchester. And one more check. Perfect. So then this is going to be our study area, and we just need to add a polygon around it. So we can do that in our layout, actually. So then let's select map frame. Let's select a map that we just made. And we have red values there. So then let's make that a little bit bigger, smaller. There we go. So then we do have our surface layer credits and on both sides of our map. And since this is an inset map and we're using a lot less surface area, that dynamic text takes up a lot more room. So then while we're in our insert banner, let's go to our dynamic text. Let's select our layout and surface layer credits. Let's draw a square over here, and ARC pulls out the credits from our maps. So cool, perfect. What else? So then this will be your final suitability locations with an inset map. And then let's just add a square around our study area, our Westchester. And then while we have this figure highlighted, let's go to graphic and let's just change the stroke to red. Cool. So our inset map with our locator, we have our suitable areas to build on that are matching the builder's criteria, with 4 being true. Cool. So then this is your final 4D deliverable. And then to switch it up, we're just going to go between each of our reclasses and then deselect the past one and focus on the area that that is our study area. We're going to change the title for each of these as well. So that I'm not going to go through and do each of these, but if I'm doing like a reclass slope, so I'll just title this reclassed slope. So then you're going to do that for our slope, aspect, hillshade, and then we've already done the final suitability locations. So then those are the 4 maps that you're going to turn in. So again, I'm not going to go through slope, aspect, hillshade, and all of that because you're just re-enabling things in your contents and changing the title. But yeah. So that is lab 11. We have 1 lab left, guys. So let's finish strong. Hope all of you have a good week, and I'll see you guys on Monday.